Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, Author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I hope you had a great week. That's important, too. You know, we work from Monday to Friday. Well, actually, we work from Monday trying to get to Friday because that is our goal for the week. And we know that the weekends go by so fast. But, you know, the thing of it is that we need to pack as much as we can within those 2 days and enjoy it. I think that's the main thing. We need to enjoy those 2 days that we have before Monday rolls around again. All right, so I don't want to keep you too long today. So let's get right into today's discussion. The title of today's show is Heart's Desire, and the topic is following your heart. Now, I've always heard the heart wants what it wants, and I'm sure you've heard that too. Whether good or bad, but in some cases, it's pretty definite that some things are just meant to be. So have you ever been so confused, unsure of which way to go because of conflicting signs? And some say left and others right. And that's a conundrum. And we're left without a clear view of which way is up. And that's never good. Well, all we need is one thing to spark what we already know is true, to tell us that, yes, you should follow that lead. That starts with the heart, and it ends with what we desire most. Now, I've always been one to follow my mind as well. Let it decide, even if it steers conflict within my heart. But what I've learned is that sometimes it pays to listen to your heart, because it knows even when our brains say we should listen to reality. Life can sometimes choose our paths for us due to circumstances that are out of our control. But those things that drive us, they pull us in different directions sometimes, that it fill our hearts and our minds regardless of the tabs that point in another direction or another way. These are the signs we should follow. It's our intuition, no matter what anything or anyone else around us says. The heart is the pathway to our souls. It's our connection to our innermost spirit. Even God judges us by what's there, so why shouldn't we do the same? Often we allow others to guide our paths, even when we know this isn't the best fit for who we are or highlight our highest potential. Some of us are multi-talented, meaning we're great at more than doing just one thing. Still, that insistent pull within us shows us our actual paths. But it's up to us, if we follow through or not, to follow our heart's desire. We will be better off if we make wiser decisions that aren't based on skewed information and personality tests. You know, have you ever been on Facebook and you know how they always have those tests that you can do, the ones that can make you look older or change the way your features are, and and things of that nature, and then to the ones that tell you your personality traits, based on the things you look at and the things that you comment on. Well, all the time that is not us. Those are things that are based on certain criteria. And it's not us. The true us is like deep within. Those are the things that are inside of our hearts that make up who we are. And those are the things that we need to pay attention to. And because it's what we know within us. That is our real selves. And only we know what lies deep within the recesses of our hearts. the one place where statistics and the opinions of the general population don't exist. What I know to be accurate is that we cannot depend solely on our mind to always make wise decisions for us that will end in our favor. The survival of our future shouldn't be based on one source, but a combination of these three things: the mind, the body, and the heart. Knowledge is power, but the heart is the key to the spirit that holds unlimited possibilities. Okay, I know some people will disagree with my logic because the heart is often fueled by emotions, but isn't this exactly the point? We should be emotionally involved at one with our hearts because the heart knows what it wants, even when we're still confused about everything. Now, you know, we in our lives, we finish high school, we go to college, and, you know, based on the things that we're good at, is usually how we choose our majors. You know, when we're at university and before we graduate, we generally know what it is we're going to be doing in life. And most of the times, our career choices are based on, you know, if we'll be able to find a job once we complete our education. But I strongly feel that sometimes we need to base our choices on what's inside of our hearts, what we know is our strengths, what we know we're great at. And I understand the need to have a gainful career, you know, because it takes money to survive in this mean, cruel world. But two, I think in life, because it's often very short, we should be able to do the things that we love as well. And doing those things means following your passions. And sometimes when you set your passions to the side and just, you know, and just move forward with what everyone else thinks is best for you. You know, you should do this because you'll make more money doing this, or you should do this because you have the potential, you know, to work at this great company or whatever. You know, within those choices, you know, those are life's choices, and I understand that. But two, we need to follow the desires of our heart. How many entertainers and artists out there and people that do, you know, all of these things that we see on television, that we hear on the radio and we see on our computers and things like that. These are the people who followed their heart's desire. You know, it may be true that they have another career, you know, that may be their mainstay. But then, you know, they're also following their true passions, their true desires. They're doing what they really want to do in life. And, you know, and I can honestly say that I'm guilty of that as well, you know, because I do work a major job. I work a regular job. But also I follow my passions because I'm a writer. And I also host this show weekly. And, you know, if I listen to people that tell me, well, I never heard you do these things before, you know, you can't do that, you know, because that doesn't make sense and you know, you'll never get anywhere with it. You can't listen to those things. You can't listen to the naysayers because they don't know you. They don't know what's in your heart. They don't know your strengths. They don't know what you're capable of. But as long as you know what you're capable of, then there is nothing that you can't do. The possibilities are endless. And that is mainly what I wanted to get across on today's show, following the heart's desire, because that is so important. Because, you know, you don't want to have lived your entire life and then one day you wake up and say, well, gosh, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have followed my dreams because that's truly what I wanted to do. You know, life is filled with enough regrets as is. And so we don't want to add to that. We want to be able to live out our dreams, you know, whether they fail or if you succeed in it, but at least you took the chance and you did what was in your heart to do. And that's what I want to tell you today. Follow your dreams. Do what is in your heart to do. It doesn't matter if you fail. There have been more people that I can count on my two hands that have failed. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't stop trying. They continued. And they didn't listen to people tell them, you can't do this. You know, this won't work for you. You know, it doesn't matter what their demographics say. It's what you know is true. And those are the things that you need to follow. You need to believe in yourself first and foremost and know your abilities, because you're capable of doing a whole lot more than what people can see. You have to be the proof, you know. And I've learned that the hard way, you know, because I I've never been one to listen to the naysayers. I've never done that. But still, my own fears. And that is one of the things that cripples us, I think, more than anything else, more than negativity, is not believing in ourselves. And in order to believe in yourself, you have to follow your heart's desire. And I hope that you do that, because ultimately the decision is up to you. But a wise woman once told me, if you want to know the meaning of life, consult your heart. It holds our secrets and innermost desires. All right, folks, that's all I have for you today. I know today's show was short and sweet, but, I don't want to keep you longer than 15 minutes, no longer than what I have to. But before I let you go, I want to make sure that I give you these URLs. And, of course, the first one is to Spreaker, and it is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. You can also follow me, like me on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram. It's God's Property 46 on Twitter, and my Instagram is God's Property 51. You can also go to my website, which is at https://www.authorvivianemore.com. You can also follow my blog on Vivian E. Moore. That's https, sorry about that, //vivianemore.blogspot.com and blogspot.com. I always say that, and that's wrong. And also, if you missed today's live show, you can listen to it on iTunes, iHeartRadio. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on YouTube. And there are a couple more. And I always do this. I always tell you that I'm going to give them out to you. And you know what? I'm going to do that today. If you'll just bear with me for a moment while I find this. And because I really do want you to go to all of the sites where you can listen, where you can get the show. Let me see if this is the one here. I'm sorry about that, folks. Just bear with me here a moment. Let me try this one and see, because it usually lists all of the places. Because there's a couple that I didn't even realize that the show was being broadcast over, but it's reaching more and more sites, and I'm excited about that. That's progress for you right there, and who doesn't like progress? That's a good thing. But while I try to search for these other sites where you can listen to the show, I just want to tell you how much I do appreciate you listeners that tune in to the show each week, and also for the ones that download my program on a weekly basis. I get the stats usually on Sundays. I get the stats for the show. And more and more, I'm just so impressed with the amount of people that are actually tuning in and listening to the show, and apparently loving what I do. So I'm very thankful for that in more ways than one. And it's a great feeling to actually be able to do this show. To just tune in with you, to chat with you every week, each week. It's wonderful. And if I hadn't followed my dreams, if I hadn't followed my passions, then I never would have known what I was capable of doing. And doing this show is definitely one of the things that that I wanted to do, and I'm doing it now. But I finally found the other ones that I wanted to share with you. And Google Podcasts too is one of the ones that is on. So there you go. So I think I've given them all to you now. Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course Spreaker, YouTube. And iHeartRadio. Yes, those are the ones. Apple iTunes. I think those are all the ones. Okay, so I've done that now. Tomorrow is worship day, and I hope you're planning on going to church. I hope you're planning on taking some children with you, some loved ones, some friends, some neighbors, and going out to worship, and because that's very important. Also, remember to tell people how much you care about them, because, tomorrow's not always promised. You should always tell people that you love them. Tell your family members, your friends, everyone that you care about, tell them how much you love them. So I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.